Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Here's my 2023 first video. Today I want to share with you some of my favorite pottery tools and my studio setup, and hopefully it's helpful for some of you out there who have or want to have a pottery studio at home so you can have the best setup in your own home for pottery. Everything mentioned in this video, I have included the links in the description in case you're interested. None of the links are sponsored, so feel free to use them. Let's get right into it. First up, the biggest item in my studio is my pottery wheel. Mine is from a brand called Amico Brand, and the model is called Model C. They have a few models out there, and I believe C is their mid-range one. There are various brands that make pottery wheels such as Shimpo, Pacifica, Clay Boss, and Scott. I've used Pacifica at our local community studio, and I've tried my friend's Shimpo wheel before. I also tried the Brent wheel at our local university art center before I pulled the trigger and bought mine in 2021. Brent is definitely not the cheapest brand, but the resale value is great if you ever decide to sell it. I would definitely recommend trying various brands if you can, and possibly get a used wheel if you have the patience to wait. I didn't really have the patience, and at the time, during the pandemic, pottery wheels were very scarce to come by. Even getting this online was backordered for a long time. I waited for more than 3 months for this wheel, and I have friends who waited for 6+ months. The Brent wheels usually come in this mustard yellow color or black. I actually enjoy this signature yellow color quite a lot. You can also watch my unboxing video, which I'll drop a link down below and up in the right corner right now. One side note about buying new Brent wheels right now is they have a rebate for registering your warranty. I used my $100 rebate to get some Amico Underglaze, which I'll show you here in a second. One of my favorite throwing tools is this Dirty Girl bat system. When I was working out of the community studio, for ease of not having to lug things around, I never had a bat system, but trying to take the ceramic pieces off the wheel without warping them was really hard. So when I got my own wheel at home, I eventually bought this bat system. It came with the master, which is the plate that goes onto your wheel head with bat pins and 10 square inserts. This is why I usually batch throw 10 pieces at a time. I wire the pieces off the bat after about an hour or two of drying. Then I'll clean the bat by scraping extra clay off and wipe it down once with a damp sponge. It is then stored vertically on this IKEA pegboard. I have some throwing tools here. These yellow sponges are very absorbent, so I use them for cleaning. This white mud tool sponge is for throwing, but most of the time I use my hands because I find it easier to control the thickness of my walls. A wooden tool, I think this one's from Kemper. I'll find the links and insert them down below. A needle tool, a metal rib for burnishing, and this sponge on a stick that I made myself to extract water from the bottom of my pots for when the opening of the pot is too small for the regular sponge. All my throwing related tools are organized on this wall here so I can have easy access to them as I'm throwing. I also put some hand building tools here too, like this rolling pin, the scissors. I put some inspiring art and postcards from my friends here too, and it keeps me happy when I look up from my wheel. Behind my wheel on the right are these shelves where I keep my hand building tools. I have needle tool, carving tool, depth guides, stamps, scale, and these plastic cutters, which one of my friends runs a 3D printing business called Squiggle Cutters, and she custom make these cutters for me. One of my favorite hand building tools is this banding wheel. The brand is Shimpo, and I found it in a pottery supply shop in St. Louis in the US. At first, I didn't think it was going to be that useful, but the first time I used it, I fell in love with it. It's much easier to work on and elevate a surface when you're sculpting. If you spin this wheel, it takes a really long time for it to come to a stop. It's precisely leveled, which makes hand building, sculpting, and glazing much easier tasks. I use this scale to weigh the clay that I throw and also weigh the glaze supplies. I have some commercial glaze and underglaze here. My favorite underglaze is from Amico, and it's called Velvet Underglaze. And these are the ones that I got with my $100 rebate. The colors are very vibrant coming out of the kiln, and I have a lot of colors here in this box. And you can mix the colors and make your own color as well. Right around the corner of my shelf is my hand building table. Here's where I do most of my sculpting and glazing for animal mugs. I clean this table every week to keep the clay dust at a minimum. Under the table here is my recycling system, which I've shown in other videos too. All the leftover clay from throwing or trimming will be dumped into a bucket here, and my friend helped me make this plaster board so I could put wet clay on here and it dries pretty evenly and pretty fast. I just recycled a batch of white clay yesterday, so these will probably be ready in another day or two. In the winter, things dry a little slower in my studio. Over here, I have 2 buckets of more frequently used glaze. One is clear and the other one is black. And I want to just walk you through the way I arrange my pottery supplies on this wall of shelves. I got the shelves from IKEA, and it's a system called Boaxel. It's spelled Boaxel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. The shelves are customizable, so I'll put a link down below for the IKEA design page. So if you want to get something that fit your space, you can follow that link. The way I arrange these shelves is mostly by how frequently I use something. For example, top of the shelves here is used for shipping supplies, which I don't use that frequent. Then the second highest shelf is my glaze supply corner over here with all the chemicals. I put them up here so my dog doesn't accidentally get into it. On the same shelf here are all my prized possessions. Some of them are from my friends and others I've made from very early on in my pottery career. The middle shelves here are where I keep the tools and the pieces that are work in progress, the commercial glaze, underglaze, hand building tools and brush and such as that, the things that I would use every single day. And then on the bottom shelf is for heavy items like my clay, plastic tarp, and newspaper crates, and some boxes of display for our markets. Some of these clay bags weigh 25 to 50 pounds, so I don't want to put them on an elevated shelf that possibly could take the shelf down. So that's the whole quick studio tour and all the tools that I use. I just want to give you a little quick update on my pottery journey here. January has been a productive month. I've delved right into throwing and sculpting in preparation for markets this year. I also have some business goals to increase my online sales, so I'm working hard on posting contents on Instagram and here on YouTube. So if you like my video and you've watched it this far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to see more of my pottery studio videos. And I will see you next time. Thank you!